Welcome to Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. I'm Doug, and today we're going to make my Texas chili. Stay tuned. So the way I make my Texas chili, I use chuck steak, and that is Angus beef, and I cut it up into cubes, add salt and pepper, add half of a white onion, and then I use 1 shot of coffee and half a can of this German beer, and I just marinate that in the refrigerator. I leave it there for about 2 hours and make sure it's covered with some plastic wrap. Then I also have 1 pound of ground beef. I have some chopped onions, garlic, and I also have some green peppers and a few scallions. That's probably about a tablespoon. And you're going to be using all those ingredients and putting them in a pan. I'm also going to use 1 12-ounce can of whole peel tomatoes, 1 can of Hunt's diced tomatoes, 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, and 1 can of Rotel. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a large skillet. I'm going to add probably about a tablespoon or so of extra virgin olive oil. We're going to cook our onions first. So I'm going to put this on a low to medium heat. Now this is 1 cup of onion, white onion that I diced up. We're going to cook this for around 5 minutes. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. My onions look good. They smell really good. I'm going to add my green pepper now. It's half a cup of a diced green pepper. I'm going to mix that with the onions. Let that cook for a couple of minutes. Low to medium heat. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my scallions. Remember, that was about a tablespoon of diced scallions. And I'm also going to add my 2 cloves of minced garlic. I'm going to give that a stir. Smells really good. Next, we're going to add our chopped meat. Now, when I add it, I'm going to add kind of like chunks like this to it. You don't want to break it up too much. Just these little chunks. And you want to cook them that way, where it has these little chunks of meat. You don't want it like all ground. We're going to brown our meat, mix it with those veggies. The onion, the pepper, garlic. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put up the flame to a medium low, and I'm really just going to toss it like that. Okay. Give it a nice toss. We're going to continue to cook this until the meat is brown.
We'll be back. Now it's getting brown. Before it gets totally brown, I want to add some spices. I'm going to add onion powder. I'm just going to sprinkle the top and do the same thing with the garlic powder. Give that a nice stir. I'm going to add a little salt and pepper. A little bit of salt. Freshly ground black pepper. Give that a nice stir. And we're going to continue to cook this until it's totally brown and there's no pink left. Now what you want to do is you want to get some kitchen shears, make sure that they're clean, and with your whole peeled tomatoes, you're just going to slice, just chop into them, okay? Just do it a few times. We'll be back. We're going to add about 2 to 3 teaspoons of chili powder. Smells good already. Perfect. Now I'm adding my 12 ounces of tomatoes. And if you see you didn't get all the tomatoes to chop it or to cut it, just go and cut a few. I'm going to add, this is my diced basil, garlic, and oregano. One can of Rotel. This is the mild version. And my 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. Now what we're going to do is we're going to mix all this up together and we're going to bring this to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, then we're going to let it simmer for around 25 minutes. And we're going to cover it too. So let it boil first. I'm going to put this on a medium flame. I'm going to continue to stir it. This is the way I make my Texas chili. Don't forget, we already have the Angus beef marinating in the refrigerator. Remember, that has to marinate for 2 hours. And we're going to combine, once we cook the beef, we're going to combine the beef to this mixture. Okay, so we're going to continue cooking this until it starts boiling, and then we're going to cover it and simmer for 20-25 minutes. Okay, you can see it's starting to bubble, starting to boil. So we're going to stir it, and then we're going to cover it and cook it for 20 to 25 minutes on a lower heat. Okay, so let me lower the heat now, and I'm going to cover it. I also made some delicious homemade cornbread that's going to go wonderful with this. And whipped butter. Oh, nothing better on a cold winter's day. So let's recap what we've done so far. So we got our Angus beef and we chopped it up. We cut them into small little cubes. And then we put salt and pepper on it. Then we added some onion. That was around, I think, half of a whole onion and chopped up small. And then we added some beer. And I used Werner's Grüne beer, some German beer to it. And so we're marinating that for about 2 hours. And so we're cooking our beef, our chopped meat there. And we got that going. That's cooking. It should take about 20 to 25 minutes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get some bacon. And we're going to actually use the bacon fat to cook our Angus beef in. All right, so it's going to be so yummy. This is my Texas chili. Okay, so it is approximately 10 minutes into the cooking. What I want to do now is I'm going to add 1 can of whole kernel corn, and I'm also going to add some Hungarian paprika. It's the sweet paprika. It's the paprika that I always use. It's called Szeged sweet paprika. So we're going to add around 1 teaspoon of that and the whole corn. Doesn't that look good? Gonna add our corn. Don't forget to drain your corn. Now you can use fire roasted corn with this too. That tastes really, really good. Except I didn't have fire roasted corn in the house. But my suggestion would be use fire roasted corn. But this is going to be just fine. All right, perfect. Going to add my Hungarian paprika. Remember, we're going to do probably about a teaspoon. And I'm also going to add some dry basil leaves. Just maybe about half a teaspoon or so. Maybe a teaspoon. Give that a nice mix. Don't forget that those tomatoes, those diced tomatoes, had some oregano and basil and spices in it too. So this looks really good. Very yummy. All right, I'm going to cover it back up, let it cook for another 10 to 15 minutes. So next what I want to do is I want to add 4 slices of bacon to my Dutch oven here. And we're going to be using that bacon fat to cook our Angus beef in, but we're also going to be using the bacon and adding it to our chili too. But we're going to be dicing up our bacon really small. So I'm going to cook my bacon first and cooking that up, and then we'll add it all together.
Once your meat is cooked, then you're going to add 1 cup of beef stock and give that a stir. And then we're going to add all that yummy ground beef mixture with the tomatoes into the beef in the Dutch oven. So now we're going to let it all cook together. You want to cook it for at least an hour and a half covered. The longer you cook it, the more tender your beef will be. So if you wanted to let it go to 2 hours or even 2.5 hours, that would be fine. But it would be ready to eat in about an hour and a half. That would be fine too. All right, let's get it covered.
Okay, so we're going to cook our chili for about an hour to an hour and a half. And halfway through, I'm going to add the bacon, the 4 slices of bacon that have been chopped up small. And I'm also going to add some extra onions. And then it should be done. Okay, so welcome back. So it is about done. We have everything set up. The cornbread is done. Now you can have chips with this. It really depends on you. Well, let's just look. Oh my gosh, look at that chili. Look how awesome that looks. Nice and meaty. It's been cooking for a little over an hour now. We're probably going to let it cook for about 15 more minutes or so. Well, it's a little over an hour, so yeah, maybe about 10, 15 more minutes. But oh my gosh, it smells so good. Yum. Okay, so we have everything set up. We have our bowls ready for our chili. I have a little extra onion out there for Yvonne. He loves extra onions. And then some Mexican style cheese. We have sour cream, our cornbread with some whipped butter that has some honey on it. Yum. And I think we're ready. Yum. I cannot wait to taste this. Wow. Okay, let's give it a taste test. I'm going to add a little cheese. Add some sour cream. Let's give it a taste. Wow. So good. The cornbread with the whipped butter. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas today. Remember, if you want that homey vibe, you need to subscribe. And please give this video a like. Until next time, my friends, happy healthy living. Bye-bye. Yum.